So, you've probably heard that Goldman Sachs just dropped a monster quarter. But honestly, the numbers are only half the story. The real headline is the massive bet they're making on artificial intelligence to completely reshape their company from the inside out. Today, we're going to dive into CEO David Solomon's vision straight from their latest earnings call.
Okay, so let's get right to it. The firm announced a blockbuster third quarter, with results that CEO David Solomon himself called very strong. But a quarter like this isn't just about bragging rights. It's about having the firepower to make some really big moves. And that's exactly what they announced. And here's the number that really had everyone talking: $15.2 billion in net revenues for a single quarter. I mean, that is just a staggering figure, and it tells you everything you need to know about the kind of momentum they're riding right now. And look, it wasn't just that top-line revenue number. Earnings per share came in hot at $12.25, and they delivered a super strong return on equity of 14.2%. Now, that's basically a fancy way of saying how good they are and making money with the money they have. The bottom line, all signs point to a really, really healthy business. So you gotta ask, right, where did all this come from? Well, this wasn't some fluke or a one-off win in one department. The really impressive part is that they're firing on all cylinders. Let's peel back the layers and see what's powering this machine.
All right, first up, let's talk investment banking. This is kind of their bread and butter, and their mergers and acquisitions, or M&A team, is just an absolute powerhouse. You know, when the biggest companies on the planet think about making a huge deal, Goldman is the name that pops into their head first. They're the ones getting that call.
And if you want to understand just how dominant they are, just look at this. We're talking more than $1 trillion in announced M&A deals that they've advised on just this year alone. It's hard to even wrap your head around a number that big. It's what puts them in a league of their own.
And you don't have to take my word for it. The CEO, David Solomon, laid it out himself. He basically said, look, we're not just number one. We're ahead of our closest competitor by a whopping $220 billion. That's not just winning the race, folks. That's lapping the competition.
But it's easy to just focus on those huge M&A deals. The thing is, the story is much bigger than that. Their markets division, the traders, posted its 7th straight quarter of growth. Incredible consistency. And then you've got their asset and wealth management arm, which just hit a record with $3.5 trillion in assets. So yeah, no matter where you look, the business is strong.
Okay, so with all these amazing numbers, you'd think the CEO would just be taking a victory lap, right? Popping champagne? But that's not exactly what happened. David Solomon actually gave a much more thoughtful take on the market. He sees the good times, for sure, but he's also looking around the corner with some healthy caution.
He talked about what he called investor exuberance. Basically, everyone's feeling really optimistic, markets are soaring. And what's fueling all this excitement? You guessed it, it's all about artificial intelligence. There is just this tidal wave of money pouring into anything and everything related to AI right now.
And here's where he gets really interesting. He asks the million-dollar question: what happens next? Because we've seen this movie before, haven't we? A hot new technology comes along, there's a gold rush, but eventually the dust settles, and not everyone who rushed in is left standing. It's that lesson from history that's really shaping his strategy.
He put it really well, saying that as students of history, we know this excitement eventually leads to a split. Some companies thrive, and others just falter. And that's the key right there. That's why even in the middle of this huge boom, Goldman is so focused on being disciplined and managing their risk. They're playing the long game. So all of this, the huge quarter, the cautious outlook, it was all building up to the main event, the big reveal of the call. And that is their new strategy, called One Goldman Sachs 3.0. And trust me, this isn't just some catchy marketing slogan. It's a massive shift in how they're going to operate. And at the very heart of it, the same technology everyone's talking about, AI. So what does One Goldman Sachs 3.0 actually mean? Well, think of it like this. It's a multi-year plan to overhaul the whole company from the inside out. They're going to use AI to rethink and rebuild their processes from the ground up. The goal is twofold. First, become way more efficient. And second, use those efficiencies to free up resources so they can double down on future growth. And they've laid out 6 big goals for this whole thing. What's really important to notice here is that this isn't just about saving money. I mean, look at this list. They're talking about making things better for clients, making work better for their own employees, and of course, beefing up their risk management. This is the whole shebang, a complete top-to-bottom rethink. And this is not some vague 30,000-foot view strategy either. They're getting their hands dirty right away. The first places they're going to apply all this AI tech are super practical. We're talking about things like sales, getting new clients in the door,
their lending processes, but also the crucial behind-the-scenes stuff, like regulatory reporting. It's front to back.
So let's kind of put all the pieces together for a second. You've got this blockbuster quarter, right? Then you have the CEO saying, hey, let's be smart about this AI boom. And then bam, they unveil this huge, ambitious AI strategy for their own company. When you see it all laid out like that, it's clear they're not just resting on their laurels. They are building a foundation for whatever comes next.
Really, the big takeaway from Solomon's message is this: winning isn't about reacting to change. It's about getting there first. You have to anticipate it. And by going all in on AI, by weaving it into the very fabric of their company, Goldman Sachs is making a huge bet that they won't just participate in the next phase of finance, they're going to lead it.
And that really leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? Goldman Sachs, one of the biggest legacy giants on Wall Street, is making a massive, calculated bet that they can harness this new technology to stay on top. But as AI completely rewrites the rulebook for finance, you have to wonder, will the old guard be the ones leading the transformation, or will they be the ones that get left behind?